and Patrice especially. I mean, because she was just so young. I mean, she went from being one of the original Soul Train dancers for the LA crew. You know, when Don Cornelius moved out to LA in 1971, Patrice Rushen was one of the original soul. I mean, again, Patrice Rushen has one of the most interesting career arcs in the history of music. What's going on, everybody? You're right on time for another ride on the Groove Line with your host, Chris Stevens. Hopefully you all are doing well out there. It is September 30th. It's the last day of the month. It's still Libra season, though. And, I mean, I'm not going to bore you guys with details of just how wonderful Libras are because, well, today we are celebrating the birthday of one of the greatest Libras ever, Professor Patrice Rushen. Yes, it is her birthday today. So today we are going to count down the top 10 Patrice Rushen joys. But before we get to that, I just want to talk about how wonderful she is in terms of her musicianship and how she broke a lot of barriers for Black women in music in the 70s and 80s and on. Because, I mean, her recording career is stellar all on its own. But when you take into account that this woman has done things like, you know, score the Grammy, score award shows, score television shows. She still teaches at Berkeley College. I mean, she just is what you would want a musician, a consummate musician to be. And we are eternally grateful, and we should all be privileged and honored to be living in the same timeline as Patrice Rushen. Like, when you think about how this young lady started off as a jazz fusion artist, became a R&B pop superstar, and that was from the muscle. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And once the industry sort of kind of pivoted away from what she was doing, she said, well, I can do other things because, well, I'm pretty damn good at this music thing. And people are like, can you score this for me? And when she was doing all of that, can you musically direct this for me? And they're like, wow, she's wonderful. We need to keep giving her jobs. So, I mean, Patrice Rushen's, you know, the music industry, the recording industry might have been done with her, but Patrice Rushen wasn't done with music. And it's just it's proof that if you have certain skills, no matter what your job is, you'll always find work. Like if you can write, you'll be able to find work. If you're able to cook, or you're able to, you know, if you're good at math, because, I mean, God bless you people that are good at math, because that ain't your boy. I mean, I failed geometry each of my last 2 years of high school. So I ain't gonna lie to you. Math ain't my thing. But if you have certain skills, they're always transferable. And musicians will always work because people need music. People need, like, trained musicians who can read and write the stuff and then, you know, interpret it correctly and have other people interpret it correctly. So Patrice Rushen just said, you know what? Maybe the recording industry ain't going to have me, but the rest of the world will. And we are eternally grateful for that. So happy birthday, Professor Patrice Rushen. We are grateful for you. We love you. We respect you. We honor you. And that's what this episode is about. I'm going to count down the 10 definitive Patrice Rushen songs that you need to check out. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to start off with one of my favorites, even though it's pretty low on the countdown. Number 10, which is number 1. This is from the 1982 album, Straight from the Heart. You're going to see a lot of Straight from the Heart on this countdown, by the way. And what I like about number 1 is that when she moved from Prestige Records to Arista Records to do pop and R&B in 1978, she got a lot of flack from the jazz community. And people were, I mean, she talked about it on her Unsung. People were like, oh, you selling out now. And it's like, music is music. I mean, yeah, I know jazz folks are sensitive because at that time, disco, R&B, and then this burgeoning thing coming around the corner, 79, 80 called hip hop was just going to, you know, push jazz out of the limelight. And I get that. But Patrice Rushen was such a talented musician that she just couldn't be contained to doing fusion. But her fusion records are pretty damn good. I'll talk more about those in a minute. But number 1 is an instrumental track. And it just absolutely is one of those fun little swingers, those little 2-steps. Da, 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 da. It's a fun record to just listen to. It's one of those ones that if you're cleaning up your house, if you're cooking or you're going for a drive, it's undefeated. And it was nominated for a Grammy. So Patrice, I think that was her dropping you know what on the table. Well, I mean she's a woman. She can't drop D on the table, but she could, you know what I'm trying to say. She let things hang. She said, all right, You jazzy MFers hating on me, take this. I got a Grammy. How you like me now? Well, it was Grammy nomination, but still. It's still a very important song in the canon of Patrice Rushen. I highly recommend you go check it out because, I mean, the fusion stuff from her earlier days, we'll talk more about that in a minute, but she still proved in 1982-83 that her jazz chops were just as good as they were when she started out, 10 years earlier. Speaking of her jazz fusion chops, we're going to go to 1975 now for song number 9 called What's the Story? And this is the first Patrice Rushen song that features lyrical performance. It's not her, though. It's a lady by the name of Josie James. And What's the Story is one of those fun records that is a woman writing from the perspective of, I'm not going to wait around for you to get your stuff together. Are you just killing time, or are you really trying to figure me out? Because if not, I got some other stuff I could be doing. And women writing stuff like that in 1975 was huge because, again, women in the 70s started to really make some inroads with respect to feminism, same way feminism. Again, in 1974, they finally had the right to have bank accounts without being married to a man for the first time. And women were just taking ownership of themselves, their bodies, their lives, and everything else. And women were starting to write the records that reflected that. So, What's the Story is basically, Patrice's way of saying, are you with me? Are you trying to get with me? If you're not, I ain't going to hang around for this BS. So What's the Story is a great, great record. And I mean, the entire Before the Dawn album is just wonderful. I mean, it's only 5 tracks, but it goes a good 45 minutes or so. Not 45 minutes, about 35, 45 minutes. 35, 40 minutes. 35, 45 minutes. Rest in peace, John Witherspoon. But yeah, it's a great album. Highly recommend you check it out if you want to get a taste of what jazz fusion Patrice Rushen was like. You'll be in for a treat. And we're not done with jazz fusion Patrice yet. But before we get to that, we got to go back to Straight from the Heart once again. 1982, we're going to You Remind Me. It's just a dreamy record. Like, if you have ever felt this way about somebody, how lucky you are, in love with your dog. Like, you know that feeling of just, being reminded of, damn, I'm really in love with this person and they like me back. It's pretty freaking cool. And it's just, I mean, I think what makes that record so fun is the Rhodes intro. Like, Patrice Rushen is a keyboard genius. Like, they call her baby fingers because her fingers are so small, but you still got to be able to play. And, with Patrice Rushen to be such a diminutive lady and still be able to have control, like complete control over a keyboard. Like, Patrice Rushen has never been overwhelmed by a keyboard a day in her life. I can guarantee you that. I mean, she might say, when she first started out on piano as a kid, like maybe then, but after that, every time I've heard Patrice Rushen on some keys, I've just been like, whew, Lord, have mercy. And the intro on You Remind Me is no different. Just a wonderful, wonderful start to a record that just continues to be dreamy and fun and flirty all the way throughout. So that's number 8 on our countdown. We go back to the jazz fusion era of Patrice Rushen, and the last album she cut as a jazz fusion artist, if you want to say that, is Shout It Out from 1977. And Sojourn closes out this album. It's like this massive sort of, it starts off slow and it then just kind of like crescendos to like this ultimate peak of horns and strings and like just I'm here now. And I think closing out that album with a song called Sojourn was sort of Patrice kind of like saying, yeah, it's time for me to move on to the next thing. Like, yes, I am this highly respected young prodigy in the jazz fusion world, but this money that Clive Davis is trying to throw at me to sing and produce my own stuff, can't turn that down. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But yeah, closing out her jazz fusion era with Sojourn, I think, was a choice. I mean, maybe, she may feel differently, but it just felt right to listen to that album and just get to Sojourn and just hear this like dramatic instrumentation that sort of just soars and says, all right, we're going to live happily ever after doing something else. And it doesn't get much better than that. It's a great, great song. We move on to number 6 now. We go to the 1980 Posh album. And this is one of my favorite songs when I just need to feel like I'm in a good mood. Like if I want to get in a good mood, I listen to Look Up. And there's a bridge where Patrice says, "Round and round we go. Only you know the way the story. So the choice is yours and yours to hold. Look up." And if you need like inspiration, if you need motivation, Look Up is a great song. I mean, for number one, it is a danceable record. The horns on Look Up are just otherworldly. And y'all know I like to beatbox and hum horn lines on this show. Look Up's horn lines are tough, super tough. And highly recommend that you listen to that song if you want to get yourself in a good mood at some point during the day, because it'll do it for you. Absolutely do it for you. This is another one. Back to Straight from the Heart. Back to Straight from the Heart once again. Sorry. Love that record. 1982, All We Need. And this is Patrice and a guy by the name of Roy Galloway who co-wrote the song with her. And it is a funky, I mean, it's probably about as electro boogie as Patrice would get at that point in her career. But All We Need is just one of those songs that just speaks to a greater understanding of self, a greater understanding of man, another greater understanding of relationships. All we need to do is love one another. All we need to do is care for each other. All we need is love. Yeah, sorry, not a singer. But yeah, All We Need, that's another one. Hearing that song on a Saturday morning for me when I'm driving to work, you know, because I work as a college sports reporter. I cover college football. So that's on my road trip playlist. So when I'm driving to some of these college games and I hear All We Need on a Saturday morning, I know I'm about to have a damn good day. And Patrice Rushen she has a lot of feel-good records. Like, I mean, yeah, she's done message songs. Yeah, she does romance. And we're going to talk about romance in a minute. Don't get me wrong. Can't wait to talk about my favorite Patrice Rushen ballad, boy. Matter of fact, I think it's up next. But yeah, you know, but Patrice Rushen's records usually put you in a really good mood if you like to just relax and vibe, or, you know, you want to dance or just, you know, be uplifted. Her entire discography does that in spades. And yeah, it is. I know I put this on the radar. So number 4, we go to Pizzazz for the first time, which was her breakout album in 1979. And Settle for My Love. I don't know how you can't rate this as one of the top Quiet Storm songs of 1979, 1980. Because there's just something about this record that just is hypnotizing. For one, we could talk about the musical aspect of it, because Patrice is actually playing the drums on this record. I mean, the keyboards and stuff, you already know that's a given, but she's also playing drums on this record. And I mean, ballad drumming, I imagine, isn't extremely difficult, but you still need to keep a pocket. Like, you can't speed up, and I don't think you can slow down either. Like, you have to be a machine when you're doing, you know, ballad drumming. I mean, you probably have to be a machine any type of drumming you do, regardless of the tempo. But a song like Settle for My Love, it just literally is Patrice Rushen as a virtuoso. It's funny because on the One Song podcast, they did a little reel, and they asked her what was the song that took her the longest to record. She said Settle for My Love because she wanted to write it, rewrite it, and get it right. And boy, did she get it right, because that is one beautiful song about your love. It means the world to me. And then, you know, when she gets to the chorus, it's settle for my love, settle for my kiss. Like, it's basically, if a Libra was to woo you, that's the song. Settle for My Love. I mean, it's basically saying, well, you know, take my hand because this is all I can give, but I can promise you that you will miss it if it goes away from you. So settle for my love, even though you're really not settling, because a Libra's love is elite. That's basically what Patrice Rushen is saying. Well, that's what I say. That's what I think she's saying. That's just my personal opinion. You know, I'm always going to ride for Libras, but yeah, Settle for My Love is an incredible ballad. Like I said, if it's not on your, if you want to make a slow jams list from 79, 80, because that was a fun period. Because I mean, that was when the Quiet Storm really started to whoosh. But yeah, I think you got to put Settle for My Love on there. Absolutely. Near the top too. Number 3, 1984 from the Now album, Feel So Real. I mean, Feel So Real, like I said about All We Need, this feels like this about as electro boogie as Patrice would get, because I mean, it's still, it was a record that was in line with the times, but it still felt wholly Patrice Rushen. It wasn't Patrice Rushen succumbing to pressure. This was Patrice Rushen saying, yeah, I can give you this, but I'm going to give it to you the Patrice Rushen way. And that's why I Feel So Real is just one of those records that again, in the middle of the 80s that people know, and just you hear the, and it feels so real that my mind won't let go. Snoop Dogg did a cover version of this with Dane Funk, and I know Snoop was trying to show love and appreciation, but yeah, I think he should have left that alone. But yeah, "Feel So Real" is a great song. Another one of those feel good joints that Patrice was known for. And it's so funny because by this point in her career, this is when Clive Davis and Arista really started to put pressure on her and say, "All right, we need you to start dancing in the videos. We need you to be an ingenue or whatever." And Patrice was like, "The hell? I'm a musician. I don't do none of that other stuff." And that was when, it started to sort of be like, you know, she started to wind down her recording career because she was like, "I'm not going to be a part of the music industry shenanigans. I can find another way to make music and still be whole and compensated for it." But yeah, "Feel So Real," good song. Number 2, back to Pizzazz and her breakout single as a vocalist, 1979's "Haven't You Heard?" Bum, 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 bum. I've been looking for you. And Kurt Franklin sampled this for what was the name of that song he did? I can't remember. But if you were around in 2006, you know the one. I just can't remember the name right now. And Kirk, if you see this, I'm sorry, but you did a great job sampling it. That's all you need to know. But yeah, "Haven't You Heard" is a song about a young woman putting it out there in the want ads that she's looking for love, that she's looking for a man to brighten up her day, and this is what she's looking for. And again, this is the late 70s. This is 1979, 1980. Women are, being a little more assertive in how they want their lives to look. Because it's always going to be a fact that women wait for men to approach because men are supposed to approach. That's the way the rules have been set since the beginning of time. Like that predates you, that predates me, that predates anybody listening and watching this. But yeah, a woman just saying, "I've been looking for you. Haven't you heard?" from a late 70s standpoint is just proof that how far women had come in being assertive and open to different things by the time the 80s came around. And of course, any Patrice Rushen countdown is incomplete without this bad boy, 1982, "Forget Me Nots," the one record that she literally had to go behind Arista's back to promote. And it became one of the biggest songs of the decade. I'm telling you, man, these music industry bean counters, they don't know a lot. They know stuff in the beginning, but after a while, they just start counting the beans and start figuring like, "Oh, wow, we know what's best for this artist, and this song just isn't going to connect." Yeah. So Patrice, Freddie Washington, who has the most incredible bass line on this, seeing Freddie Washington get his flowers for the "Forget Me Nots" bass line is just one of those things that does my old school heart so much good. Like, people are just like, "Wow, can you show us how you played that?" And he just still like locked in like it's 1982. Him and Patrice and Cherie Brown are in the studio working on this joint. And it's just it's like, how in the world can that bass line just not get old 43 years later? It's just incredible. I don't know. Because I was a year old when "Forgive Me Nots" came out. So I can't tell you how people reacted to it. But if you were around back then, I'm sure you'll leave me a comment and let me know how "Forget Me Nots" hit y'all in 82, 83. I imagine it hit pretty hard because it is a tremendous song. It's, just one of those songs that you listen to lyrical content. It's basically talking about the breakup of a relationship, but though we'd end as friends, given the chance we could love again. It's basically saying, well, we can circle the block if we need to. So I'm going to send you these "Forget Me Nots." "Forget Me Nots," of course, are a flower. Sending you "Forget Me Nots to help you to remember. Just, if you were around in the 80s, you have sung that song at least once or twice in your life. You have. It's just a fact. It's one of those songs that you can't tell the story of black music in the 80s without. You can't. And anybody telling you different is a damn fool. And it just shows you just Patrice Rushen's brilliance because, she started her career in 1973, 74 doing jazz fusion. And by the middle of the 80s, she was one of R&B's biggest stars. When you're as talented and devoted to your craft as Patrice Rushen was and is, you're always going to find a lane. And her lane in the beginning was a lot of that, Headhunters era stuff by Herbie, Grover Washington Jr. era, George Duke, Idris Muhammad, folks in that lane. She was the only, I mean, her and Bobby Humphrey were the only women doing it. They were the only women doing it and killing it. So I think, we don't talk about Bobby Humphrey enough, though. Like, I don't know why her and Patrice Rushen never worked together, but that would have been a match made in heaven. Patrice on the keys and Bobby on the flute. Maybe they can still do it. I don't know. It would be fun for me to listen to in 2025. Don't know how you feel about it, but I think it would be fun for me to listen to this year. But, Patrice Rushen and Bobby Humphrey were literally just the only two women, and they were young too. Patrice especially, because, she was still in college when she was cutting those prestige records, and Bobby was like a year or two out of Yale when she started doing stuff like Harlem River Drive, Uno Está, on and on it goes. These are two women that deserve a lot of credit for hanging with an all boys club like Jazz Fusion and Jazz, deservedly. Like, they were wonderful, and Patrice especially. Because she was just so young. She went from being one of the original Soul Train dancers for the LA crew. When Don Cornelius moved out to LA in 1971, Patrice Rushen was one of the original soul. Again, Patrice Rushen has one of the most interesting career arcs in the history of music. You start your career as a Soul Train dancer your senior year of high school. You go to USC. You start cutting jazz records when you're 19, 20. You sign with a major to start singing when you're 23. And then, by the time she wasn't old. She was still a young woman when Arista started to give her the cold shoulder in 83, 84, 85. So she said, you know what? Bump this. I can go do other things. It's just, Patrice Rushen, her story is just so, I really hope she writes a book someday. She does podcast interviews. It would be a dream to have Patrice Rushen on the Groove Line. So hopefully we can all just sort of like channel that and, manifest it. Maybe Patrice Rushen can join me on this show one of these days. Like, I would literally faint before we even got out of work. What's going on? I swear, that's how it would be. But I would love to have Patrice Rushen on this show. But yeah, I hope she writes a book at some point, or maybe she does a documentary of her career, because her career arc is one of the most interesting ever when you look at it from the totality of it, being a Soul Train dancer, a trained musician, and cutting jazz records, then going to fusion, then going to R&B, and then becoming one of the most sought after music professors and arrangers and music directors of all time. Just a tremendous career. And that's why it was important to do a show for her birthday, just to let Patrice Rushen know, and Patrice Rushen fans know, that we need to give people their flowers while they can still see them. Patrice Rushen, she's still, very active, and we should be grateful for that. And we need to, show her love and appreciation, because she literally is one of the few music geniuses we have left. Absolutely one of the few music geniuses we have left. And she deserves every petal of flower that she gets. And this show is one of them. And that's going to do it for this ride on the Groove Line. Greatly appreciate y'all for watching and listening. As always, contact information will be in the description below. Don't know what the rest of the week is going to look like, because 2 shows in 2 days, and I really need to sort of rest my voice a little bit. But we'll see what happens. You never know. Just subscribe to the channel. You already know what's here. You already know I'm consistent. I put out 2-3 videos a week. So just stay tuned for the next one. So thank y'all for watching. Until the next time we ride, may you find the groove, or may the groove find you.